I'm Tyler with Review.com, and today we're going to be making our own laundry detergents. Here we have the ingredients for 4 different recipes that we found on the internet, and we're going to compare how well these recipes do against this leading brand detergent, which we're going to use as a control. Right now I'm adding a half cup of Dawn dishwasher liquid. You might be thinking, well, isn't that cheating? You're making soap that's supposed to be DIY, and you're using brand name soap? Well, we thought the same thing. We don't really have an answer for you. I'm adding half cup of borax, half cup of washing soda. This recipe calls for 4 cups of hot water to break up the ingredients, and then we're going to add 3 cups of hot water after this. So the recipe calls to fill the rest of the container with cold water, but it doesn't specify how much, so we're just going to add 4 or 5 cups of cold water. So the recipe says to shake before each use and use approximately 1/4 cup per large load. Other than that, this is done. So here we have a bar of ivory soap, and this recipe calls to grate it with a cheese grater. But we don't have that, so we're going to use a food processor. I'd say we give up on this. So the whole food processor to a bar of soap thing didn't really work out, but someone volunteered a knife, which we're going to use to literally whittle this bar of soap. After about 15 minutes of whittling and joking about Appalachian stereotypes, we have 1 bar of grated ivory soap. So 1 cup borax, 1 cup washing soda. I have a soapy taste in my mouth. So there you have a powdered DIY laundry detergent. This last recipe is like an industrial scale volume, so we're going to scale it down to 1/4 of what the recipe actually calls for. So essentially we're doing a 1/4 box of borax because the original recipe calls for an entire one. Still not sure how this is different from baking soda, but here's the washing soda. So this is a good old-fashioned baking soda, everyone knows what that is. Purex Crystal's Fabric Enhancer. You folks at home can't smell this, but it smells exactly like candy. So if you have kids, keep this away from them. We're gonna add a half container of this. Yes. You can smell it from here. Just mixing all these toxic chemicals in a bucket. So this recipe from Wellness Mama also calls for a pretty large volume. We're going to scale this one down as well. We're going to do a 1/4 bar of soap, and we're going to heat this soap in a Pyrex glass container. Now, I know what you're thinking, this looks sort of dangerous, and we agree, but this is Pyrex glass, which is used in chemistry labs, and that's supposed to withstand a considerable amount of heat, so hopefully this will be fine. So now we've finished heating this soap and water mix. We're going to take it off the heat. 1/4 cup washing soda. 1/4 cup borax. So this is some really, really hot tap water. The recipe actually calls for really, really hot tap water. And it's actually burning my hands right now. All right, so the last step is to add the water soap mixture we made earlier on the stove. After this, you're supposed to leave it overnight. And then hopefully by morning, you'll have your own detergent. So now we're going to do some laundry. And we're going to do a number of loads for each detergent, and we're going to determine how well each detergent does with one of these stain strips. 1/4 cup detergent number 1. 2 tablespoons detergent number 2. 4 tablespoons detergent number 3. 3/4 cup detergent number 4. And for our control, the recommended amount of the store-bought detergent. So we ran all of our detergents through the wash, and now we're consulting our washer-dryer expert, John Chan, who's using a photospectrometer to determine which one was the best. So we finished our testing, and unfortunately we have to admit that the store-bought detergent performed the best by a landslide, followed by number 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 performed more or less the same. 3 and 4 were also the most difficult to make. Number 3 having a very pungent smell that is not very pleasant. Oh God! Oh. Woo. And number 4 required a whole long procedure of letting it sit overnight, heating it on a stovetop. It's just not worth it, especially for its deplorable performance. If we had to recommend one of these and you wanted to save some money, we'd recommend going with number 1 or number 2, but either way, it's not going to beat the store-bought brand.